Okay, so here's the thing about me. Um, I just kind of I speak my mind on a lot of things because I saw a lot of things growing up, and I think the reason why it's always resonated with me to just kind of call certain things out or question the validity of the logic behind what's being said is because of my grandmother. Um, my maternal grandmother, who raised me for a majority of my life. Um, as my mom worked multiple jobs, um, because she wasn't trying to live off the system, so she had to work. And that's one thing I will give kudos to my mom. She taught me about work ethic and, owning stuff, owning your mistakes, and working to pay them off. But my grandmother gave me a lot of old soul wisdom and knowledge that the things that she said to me back in the 80s and early 90s before she passed away really resonate even more so today than it did then. And for that, it's like I'm forever grateful, forever thankful. See, my grandmother used to call out the BS that black women did, but she did it in a nice Christian, Southern Christian ladylike way. She didn't call you bitches. She didn't call you hoes. She called you floozy and a hussy or a home wrecker. And it was always going on. And the things we see today are the manifestation of things that happened in the past. See, one of the greatest lies that the devil used was to convince you that he didn't exist or that he existed in a different form. One of the greatest lies ever perpetuated by black women was to make a black man feel like if he stepped outside and dated someone or married someone not his own, his life would almost guarantee be over. He shall surely die. This was permeated, even from the grandmother that I spoke so lovingly about. The one time I was going to go to a dance with a white girl, my grandmother refused to talk to me for the whole week until the dance came and went. Not that we were dating, but that we were going to a dance together. And I often struggled with trying to understand and rationalize how my grandmother had no problem working for white folks, but dating them were not even dating them, but just hanging around, being around a white female was almost the sin of suicide. To be forever cast off. I don't know when this mentality started. And it's funny because I'm not even going where I was going to initially go with this, but I'm just kind of not to be like all religious, but I'm just kind of going where the spirit is taking me on this. And for all the grief, and again, I've only dated two white females in my entire life. I'm 36, and the two white females that I dated were when I was in my teenage. Well, yeah, I was in my teenage years. One, I think it was like as I was leaving, it was like 19 going on 20, but the other one I was like 15. No, I was 14 or 15. And the, I won't say hatred, but the kickback that I got, the demeanors that I got was to the point where it was like I wanted to call this white girl up and say we can't be together anymore. We can't date anymore. That's just how thick it was. And then I started doing a lot of research into the whole slave plantation and the kind of like the sex farms that were going on. And it's almost like there is this affinity for black women and white men to connect. But if it happens in the other way, in the flip side, then the black male needs to not only be castrated by the master, but then have stones thrown at his swinging body by black women. It's hard for me to reconcile in my mind the logic between it being so bad for me to bring a white female in middle school to a middle school dance. Not that this was my wife, not that this was going to be my wife, but not that this was going even my girlfriend at the time. It was just she asked me to the dance. I was in 6th grade. This was shortly before my grandmother passed away. And she was very happy when this white female at the last minute decided she didn't want to go to the dance with me anymore, but I had already paid for the ticket. So I said, well, I'm going to go anyways. And then at that point, she began to communicate with me once again. So in my pain brought her joy. Because at the time, again, she wasn't my girlfriend, but she was a cute girl. And so I kind of liked her. And you go through that in middle school and high school, stuff like that. And you like someone, you really like someone or whatnot. And it just really made me think. And even though was not where I was originally going to go with this video, it kind of brought me there because of this video I just did about why successful black men date white women. And now I was in middle school. I was no type of success at all. Like my life hadn't even begun yet, really. Even though in my mind, every day was so serious and whatever. But in the larger scheme of things, my life hadn't started yet. I hadn't started living life yet. And yet, my disappointment brought a black woman joy because it validated how vicious white women were. How they would use you and hurt you. Because this is all stuff from a little boy that I was told. All the horror stories. From my grandmother growing up in the South and what happened and this and that. But then you stop and you think and you realize the mantle, the trophy that black women hold up is the white man. Any white man. Doesn't have to be like a Brad Pitt, George Clooney. Don't have to really look handsome. Just be a white man. And yet, they're expanding their options because there are no good black men left. That's the excuse. So why can't a black man use that same excuse too? Why can't he say there's no good black women left? Why does the black man have to be forced to comb through the landfill of useless black females to find one that's worth salvaging, but they don't. They can pick bad men after bad men after bad men and paint all black men the same way. See, what my grandmother gave me was a gift and a curse. The gift was it taught me logic by being taught something that was ideological. Because all throughout my life, I've been treated unfairly. And one of the things that I strive for in everything that I do is to be a fair man, fair in my assessment. If I'm harsh on one thing, I can be harsh on the other, especially if the two are similar or identical. But one thing that I notice has been highly unfair, whether I'm for it or not. Like I said, I'm not really for interracial relationships, and I'm not really for interracial relationships, or well, I'm not for or against it. And at this point in time, it's almost nauseating why black men are always the target and the focal point of interracial relationships when black women have no problem throwing their white dude in a black man's face. I've seen it too many times. I'll end it on this note. Back when my wife was pregnant with our first child, first son, we went down for our wedding anniversary. We went down to Atlantic City, and we were walking on the boardwalk there. This was right, I think, a year or so after the hurricane, so the boardwalk was still kind of tore up in certain parts. But I remember there was a group of 4 black women. They were walking. It was a black man and a white woman. And I could hear them make comments as they were walking by. And then, walking the same direction as the black man and the white woman was a black woman and a white man together. And I didn't hear not a word. They didn't say, look at her, she's selling out. Nope. They pretended it didn't even exist. They didn't even comment. Didn't even look. So the moral of the story is, black man, whether I agree with where you want to put your penis or not, it's not my place to tell you where you can and cannot put your penis. But I will say this, and I will admonish you to take heed to this. Do what is best for you, black man. Whatever that may be, whoever that may mean you end up dating. Do what is best for you. Because they're doing what's best for them. But they want to make you feel like you don't have a place to go, when in reality they don't. They want the first right of refusal. They want to reject you and reject you and reject you and still make you believe that you need to fight through it to get one of them. No, you don't. Don't let nobody make you feel less than because of who you're with. Because it's none of their business. It's not my business. And whether you are successful or you're not successful, whoever you're with is whoever you're with. That's between you and God, if you believe in it. Ignore these ignoramuses trying to make you feel like you are selling out because you're not with a black woman or you're not with a dark enough black woman. Kind of like the way some people treat me. It's because my wife isn't dark as me. That's a problem. You can't make these niggas happy. So you know what? Make yourself happy.